Now we're inside the engine room of a crypto VASP monitoring. In this module, you'll see how to spot red flags in blockchain activity, turn raw alerts into real insight, and decide when a case is serious enough to escalate and report to regulators. Think of a good AML program like a heartbeat. It starts with the customer's risk profile, who they are, where they're based, and what they're doing with your platform. Then you watch live fiat and on-chain flows and ask, does this behavior fit that profile? Those insights drive dynamic controls, tighter limits, extra due diligence, sometimes even exits, which then feed back into the profile and keep the loop alive. Designing a monitoring rules engine is a constant trade-off between missed risk and overwhelming false positives. You tune sensitivity, set transaction thresholds, and apply different risk profiles to retail, institutional, fiat, and on-chain activity. The aim isn't to catch every possible risk. It's to surface the patterns that truly matter, so analysts can focus their time on genuinely suspicious behavior. At NovaX, almost every monitoring alert falls into one of three patterns. First, volume spikes. Money suddenly moves in amounts far above a customer's normal behavior, suggesting account takeover or hidden business activity. Second, rapid in and out flows. Funds arrive, then leave almost instantly, a classic layering pattern. Third, high-risk interactions. Activity touching mixers, darknet services, or sanctioned entities, which may indicate direct criminal exposure. In this context, layering is mostly about speed and simplicity. Fresh fiat hits the exchange, converts to crypto, then disappears to an unhosted wallet, often within minutes. Compliance teams care less about the individual steps and more about the time gap and the missing business reason. When velocity is high and there's no plausible economic purpose, you're likely seeing passing through or classic layering behavior. When compliance teams talk about exposure, they mean more than just direct transfers. They care how many hops away a customer is from a darknet market, mixer, or sanctioned address. Blockchain analytics traces these paths, scores the risk, and flags patterns like repeated use of obfuscation layers. Your job is to interpret those signals and decide when indirect exposure becomes unacceptable for your firm's risk appetite. Blockchain analytics tools are powerful, but they don't replace human judgment. The system clusters addresses, maps transactions, and suggests a risk score, nothing more than a starting point. A trained analyst must combine that score with KYC information, behavior, and business context before deciding what action to take. Alert fatigue kills effectiveness. The goal is not zero alerts, it's fewer, smarter alerts. Start by reviewing historic alerts to see what was noise and what led to real cases. Then segment customers, because a normal pattern for a VIP trader is not normal for a brand new user. Add contextual rules that look at combinations of behaviors, not single spikes. And always document every tuning decision so regulators and auditors can follow your logic. Once a rule fires, the alert is just the starting gun. First comes quick triage to strip out obvious noise, so analysts don't drown in false positives. The remaining alerts become cases, each assigned with clear ownership and deadlines. Only then does deep dive analysis begin, gathering context, using blockchain analytics, and documenting your rationale. This funnel is how NovaX demonstrates that every risky signal is handled, not ignored. A risk score is just a signal. It doesn't make the decision for you. Your responsibility is to explain in writing why you agree or disagree with it. Begin with customer purpose and expected activity. Check whether the source of funds is consistent with that story. Note any red flags that are present or clearly absent. Then write a short, clear rationale. That narrative, not the number alone, is what protects you in audits and inspections. Consider this scenario. A brand new customer deposits $30,000, buys crypto immediately, and withdraws everything within minutes, with analytics flagging darknet exposure. This is not a reason to panic. It's a reason to ask, can they plausibly explain this? If the explanation checks out, document your review and close the case. If it doesn't, or they can't provide one, escalate. Once a case reaches the MLRO, it's no longer about interesting activity. It's about legal thresholds. The MLRO asks three key questions. First, Do the facts, taken together, create enough suspicion to trigger a formal report? Second, do we need immediate protective action such as freezing or restricting the account? Third, does this incident reveal a deeper pattern that justifies permanently upgrading the customer's risk rating? When you decide activity is suspicious, document it clearly and objectively. Set out who was involved, what exactly happened, when and where it occurred, and why it raised red flags, linking back to your monitoring records. Follow your jurisdiction's reporting format and deadlines precisely, and never tip off the customer or any counterparties. Any hint that you filed or may file a report can itself be a serious breach. In crypto compliance, treat automation as your radar and humans as the pilots. Systems scan everything, spot patterns, and apply rules the same way every time. Humans step in to judge what's plausible, interpret intent, and decide whether activity meets the legal standard of suspicion. Strong programs deliberately design this partnership, instead of letting tools or people operate in isolation. To bring it all together, monitoring that ignores risk profiles is blind. Always match surveillance depth to customer risk. Keep rules tuned with real data so alerts stay meaningful. Capture the rationale for every decision. And when you're in genuine doubt, escalate early and confidently.